Welcome back to the channel. Let's spill some tea and sip a little drama.
You all know this is an amazing thing that happened. I had such trust from the Oprah Show audience that Whitney did, I think it was her last show with us, and she had gone back on drugs. The first interview I did with her when we'd gone behind stage and I asked her about her intention, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform in front of the audience, she was not. And she fell off of the stage. And I knew that if that story got out that she'd fallen off of the stage, that she would be destroyed by that. And so even though the audience was there and the audience had cameras, I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life, and they did not.
And what about...
That would not happen today, I can tell you.
What about...
Oprah Winfrey is catching major heat after revealing a story about Whitney Houston that many people believe should have stayed buried. While speaking at the Cannes Lions Festival, Oprah claimed that during Whitney's final appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show back in 2009, the singer had relapsed, was high on drugs, and even fell on stage during the taping. Oprah said she begged everyone in the audience not to release any photos or videos because she wanted to protect Whitney's career and reputation. But here's where things took a dramatic turn. Whitney Houston's estate says Oprah's version of events is simply not true. Pat Houston, who manages Whitney's estate, says Whitney was absolutely not high, and that the fall happened during a dark sound check before the audience even entered the studio. Whitney's longtime hairstylist and bodyguard are backing that story, saying the stage was poorly lit, Whitney laughed it off, and the audience never witnessed the accident. Now social media is asking one big question: if Oprah really kept this secret for 17 years to protect Whitney, why tell the story now when Whitney isn't here to speak for herself? Others argue Oprah was simply sharing a moment that demonstrated the trust between her audience and her show. But without any photos, videos, or independent evidence publicly available, the conflicting accounts have left many fans divided.
Whitney Houston's family and estate is fighting back against Oprah Winfrey today because she made some disturbing remarks about Whitney Houston because Oprah is trying to stay relevant. Oprah basically said when she was accepting an award over the weekend that Whitney Houston was so high on her show that she fell off the stage. And she said she kept that secret for Whitney Houston for decades, and says that even fans took pictures of the incident, but Oprah begged the audience not to share those photos. And to our surprise, those photos have never been released. But yet they might now because Oprah wanted to say an incident allegedly that occurred on her show. It's very disturbing that she would say this about the late, great Whitney Houston without not acknowledging her greatness. You want to keep bringing up her sufferings. That makes no sense. You're a grifter. Now, Whitney Houston's family has responded to those accusations, saying that's just completely not true. They released a statement to TMZ, and they told TMZ that, yes, Whitney did fall off the stage during a sound check that she was doing, but because the stage was unfamiliar and it was dark, it had nothing to do with drug use. Like Oprah claims that she was extremely high and relapsed on her show. Whitney Houston's family says it's unfair to connect Whitney Houston's addiction to every part of her life when that's just not true. He said, yes, again, she did struggle with addiction, but that day she showed up to Oprah, she showed up very professional and ready to work, not under the influence like Oprah claims. She was ready to show up and be professional. Within a decade after Whitney Houston's death, it just seems that Oprah, in my opinion, is still grifting off of Whitney Houston, and it's truly disgusting. Rest in peace to Whitney Houston. If I see any more updates, I'll keep providing them for you guys. If you want some, follow along for more.
Sharing this story was the definition of being a petty bitch. I don't even have anything else to say about you because you're also a clown.
I was there that day, all day, both days, both amazing days. So how dare somebody come in and say anything different? So fair game. Since Pandora, you want to open the box? Let's talk about it. Let's not leave her legacy in some sort of way. When you put a but after the statement, as if she left that night, wasn't doing drugs, and then between the night she got there and the next morning to do that next interview, is 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. It blew me back. I said, oh, when you talk about her legacy and leaving her legacy strong, just leave it alone, especially if it's not the truth. I listened to it several times to see, like, okay, I'm not trying to stir up any drama, but what I'm not going to do is let anybody sit there and say that she was high on drugs or anything, because she was not. She wanted to not have a glass of wine for somebody to say anything, like specifically for those 2 days, because she was giving you guys so much truth about herself. She didn't want to have nothing. She drinks her tea, she does her little stuff. For them to say that it would mess up her legacy, it disturbed me, So I wanted to come on and say that I was with her that day. It was an amazing 2 days. Her telling her truth. You know how that feels to go in front of all these people that are watching you to tell your truth, and they've already been talking about you since we're opening up the box. Since she's saying that she failed because she was high is not the truth. She failed because they did not rope off the stage. They had a black tarp, demarcation of the stage and a tarp. And I was standing right there, and I swear to you, she failed. Like, whoa. And I ran, everybody ran to get her. You know what I mean? And then she's so goofy. When I say goofy, like fun loving, is so not hurt so bad, but hurt because why didn't you guys rope that off? Why didn't you guys say don't go any further than this right here? So then Oprah gets out and she tells everybody, don't show this, don't share this. She tells her staff she'll fire everybody if it gets out and this sort of thing. And, NDAs and all that kind of stuff. But then you come and you say this, it's not the truth. She was not high, not one day, not neither day. And she hadn't been high like everybody had been saying.
Oprah Winfrey was talking about something that happened on the set of her show during the taping of the Oprah Winfrey Show, where Oprah said that Whitney Houston was so high that she fell. And she said that she begged everybody not to report it or film or video that and put that out, this, that, and the other. And Pat Brown, if I'm not mistaken, not Pat Brown, Pat Houston, if I'm not mistaken, which is Whitney Houston's sister, responded. And, and said that it was dark and she fell. And I have to say that whether you believe Pat Houston or whether you believe Oprah, this is me. I don't care if she was high or not. Whitney Houston is dead and gone and passed away. And Whitney Houston meant a lot to us. Whitney Houston was a big sister to a lot of us. I never met her personally or whatever, but I felt like she was a big sister to me. And she is pretty much Black America's auntie. And everybody got a Whitney Houston in their family, somebody that they love, that's talented, that's outspoken or whatever. But it's something about Whitney Houston's death. It's something about Whitney Houston that we took her death personally. It's like somebody in our family died. And it's hard for me to even make the live video because I get real emotional when it comes to Whitney Houston because, we don't care about none of that. And that was something that we didn't need to know. We didn't ask for that information. We didn't need to know that information. We don't care. Whitney Houston is somebody that you just don't talk about in the black community if you're in touch. You don't talk about the Obamas. You don't talk about Whitney Houston. We sensitive about Michael Jackson. And you don't talk about the Kings. That's black royalty that you just don't talk about. We don't play about Whitney Houston. I know I don't. Because I don't care what her downfall was. We all have downfall. We all have had things that we're struggling with. We all have people in our family that's struggling with addiction, and we have lost loved ones to addiction, whatever the case may be. But why would you bring stuff like that up? Why is it when it comes to you and Gail, right after Kobe Bryant died, Gail interviewed Lisa Leslie, if I'm not mistaken, was asking her about a sexual assault case that he was found innocent of. And the fact that y'all are so out of touch with the black community and been rich so long that you don't even know not to talk about certain things a certain kind of way. Because if you was really sincere and genuine about people not filming that stuff, then you might as well have told them to film, because you brought it up and aired it out anyway. What does it matter?
I grew up on Oprah. Okay, she saved my life in many ways because of all the crazy shit I saw on that show. I was very much aware of how the world worked at a very young age. However, the shit she did just recently in an interview really pissed me off. I don't know if you guys have heard. So basically she was at some like festival or something, and they asked her an interview question about Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston famously did a interview with Oprah. I think it was one of her last like big interviews. And remember, she had the little short unit on, and she appeared to be sober. And the interview was actually one of my favorite interviews. Anyways, along with the interview, as Oprah does, there's always a performance. So what the audience doesn't know is filmed in two parts. So first they did the interview, and then Whitney came back and did the performance. Apparently, Oprah says that during the performance, Whitney fell off stage, and it was because she was on drugs. That is what Oprah said. She didn't say, I think she was on drugs. She didn't say maybe. She said, yeah, she was back into it and fell on stage. Then Oprah says that she, begged the studio not to tell, not to take pictures or tell anyone, because I knew that if it got out, it would ruin her life. And then apparently none of anybody in the studio ever told, and it's just been this big secret that she fell off stage. I think what makes me the most angry is that if that was what she really felt in her heart, that, and she knows that's one of Whitney's really big last interviews. And I feel like if she knew in her heart that back then the story would have been sensationalized, she knew that it would have been the same thing now. And we rarely speak about Whitney without having to bring up her struggles and addictions, and Whitney didn't get a fair shake when it came to her addictions and struggles like we give to everyone now. We see people struggling and we give them so much grace, and we did not give that to her. But why is Oprah talking about this now? If you wanted to keep it a secret, you begged everyone to keep it a secret then why are you bringing it up now? Do you feel different in your spirit now? Or she's gone, so whatever. No, not whatever. A lot of people cherish that last interview, and a lot of us want to believe that she was okay, and it wouldn't make a difference, if she was or wasn't, so why even say it at this point? We know she was an addict, we know she was amazing, both things can be true, but why do we have to keep bringing up these instances, when she had addiction behavior, especially when it wasn't on a platform where she was speaking with a recovery group, and maybe she just told that group, or, it was just for no reason, brought up.
Of our lives, not having to picture Whitney Houston being that damn high to the point where she can't function. We know that Whitney was a mess behind closed doors, and there were very few times we actually witnessed her being a mess. The one time she came on the stage on that award show and she was so doggone skinny, I think that picture that Kanye tried to use for an album cover that got out with her bathroom with all the drug paraphernalia, for the most part, we don't have many images in our minds of Whitney Houston being this bumbling, fumbling drug addict. And it's just Oprah, for you to now fill in the blanks and color in just how much of a dirty addict she was. I just don't know that we needed this. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the flip side of things, y'all, I am a very fair person. I'm a very fair person. At least I like to think I am. And if I'm being perfectly honest, this is equally as much Oprah's business to share as it was Whitney's. All right. So I'm not necessarily mad at Oprah for sharing it because it's Oprah's business as well. And she has the right to share it. Bitch, she was there. It happened on her show. She was the one Oprah's a part of the story. She has the right to share it. It's equally as much her business. I just don't know why you shared it, Oprah. I don't know. I just think that there was some other stuff you could have shared. I don't know.
You know what, Oprah? This is the reason why nobody fucks with your ass now. Because why would you tell us this? Why would you tell the whole world that bogus ass story about Whitney? Whitney gone on to glory back in 2012. It is 2026. 14 years. Babies that was born around the time Whitney passed away are starting high school this upcoming school year. And you're going to tell us this goddamn story. Let Whitney rest in peace. It's already a tragic story. Whitney's gone and her daughter's gone. It's already a tragedy. We don't need any more negativity associated with Whitney's name. That's why nobody want to fuck with your ass now, because you are such a petty, vindictive ass bitch. Ooh, Oprah, go kick some motherfucking rocks or something.
Let me be clear that we don't care that Whitney Houston fell off the stage. I don't even understand why this story is being shared to begin with, when for years now, everybody has accepted that she's no longer here. They have accepted that she had a problem with drugs. They don't really even discuss it anymore. They spend their time talking about her greatness and how she was as a human being. So it doesn't make any sense that you would tell your audience not to share this moment and then you turn around years later and share it, because honestly, the audience listened to you and they were respecting her legacy by not sharing it, because I never heard this story until a few days ago. So I don't understand what the point in sharing it is, especially when you see so many people in all of these interviews, Jennifer Hudson show and Tamron Hall and all of these shows uplifting Whitney for not just her voice, but how she was as a human being. And then you come around and you want to bring it back to the drugs. Like, we're off that. As a public, we're off that. Every comment section that I see that Whitney is mentioned, they are always saying Whitney ain't got no business being gone. The public misses her, and you want to circle back and talk about she was high when she came on your, like, we really don't care at this point. It's real. There's something so dark and so nasty about this moment. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's not registering.
What do you think? Did Oprah cross the line by sharing this story, or was she just telling her truth? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more celebrity tea and trending news.
Now, why would Oprah get her audience to keep a secret since 2009 just so she could leak it in 2026? I am so confused by this story. So if you haven't seen, Oprah was at Cannes Lions Festival talking to creators about using their platform for good. And she told a story about how apparently when Whitney Houston came to perform on her show, that at some point she had fallen off the stage, and Oprah basically said it's because she had fallen off the wagon and she was back in a bad place, and this caused her to fall off the stage, and that she begged her audience to keep it a secret. Don't leak it to the press. If you took pictures, please delete them. Don't tell anyone this happened, basically. And they never did, because she said at the time, oh my gosh, this would ruin her. This would be so terrible for Whitney's reputation at the time. However, why is Oprah telling us this now? If your audience kept their word and they didn't leak this ever, and they kept an airtight secret just so you could tell the story about how they kept a secret all these years later, now the Whitney Houston estate has responded to what Oprah said. They are not happy. Basically said that never happened. It was dark and she fell off the stage. She didn't have her bearings because she didn't know where she was going. And that just because someone struggles with something doesn't mean we should blame everything that ever happens to them on their struggles, because sometimes the two things are basically separate. I'm paraphrasing here. I think it's so wild of Oprah to spill this after all these years. Why do we need to come after Whitney? Just keep it a secret. And also, is there a way that she could have told this story without saying who it was? Because that part is kind of brutal. And also, asking creators to just be responsible and use their platform for good while you're talking about someone who's long gone and can't be here to defend themselves and telling kind of a really negative story about them is a little upsetting. And I kind of think she missed the mark on this one. If you're encouraging creators to basically like not use their platform to say bad things about people, and then you go ahead and spill this secret about someone. So I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on this situation. I'm just very thrown off by it. And I think she definitely could have done this in a different way or told the story without revealing who she was speaking about. Let me know.
Oprah, you lying dog-head, boot-licking bitch. Keep my Aunt Whitney Elizabeth Houston's name out your mouth. You couldn't fuck with Whitney on her worst day. Before you speak on her, tell us what happened to them kids, huh?
Oprah Winfrey. About Whitney, we'll cut you off. Baby, about Whitney Houston. Now, what made you wake up and say, you know what? Today I'm going to talk about Whitney to the world. What made you do that? Because, Oprah, we don't even really like you like that. The only reason we almost accepted you, because you real aggravating, always been aggravating, right? But the only reason we accepted you, the little that we did accept you, is because your success story was amazing. We was proud of the woman you became and where you came from, right? We was proud to see that you came from nothing and built yourself up to something. But baby, let me tell you something about Whitney. But we can easily cut you off. Easily cut you off about Whitney. Now, why would you get on there? And, in 2009, when I interviewed her, she was so high till she fell off stage. Okay, and we know she was an addict. I mean, you ain't tell us nothing that's surprising us. Why you decide to put your mouth on her? Out of all the interviews that you did, you interviewed Tom Cruise, scientific ass. You ain't say nothing about his psycho ass. You ain't say nothing about him, but about Whitney. You chose to wake up and put your mouth on Whitney. Girl, we will cut. If you want to give us a story on something, if you want to wake up one day and enlighten us on how your mama left you. Enlighten us on how you found your sister all those years later. Enlighten us on that. Enlighten us on you. Don't be trying to enlighten us on Whitney, because about Whitney, because the one thing about Whitney, yeah, she might have been on drugs. We know she was on drugs. America knows she was on drugs, but she always inspired us, okay? She inspired us. We believed that these badass children was the future. We believed that. I believe that no good motherfucker I was with at that time, that I was going to always love him. I just knew I was saving all my love for him. And you going to get on here and you going to try to tarnish my image of her? Girl, about Whitney, I will cut you. Cut. Keep her name out your mouth, sis. Keep your, because how will we know? We would have never knew if he really loved us. Because you, girl, keep your name. Don't do that. Don't do that, Oprah. We trying with you. You like that close. We trying with you. Okay? If you want to do a story on your fat ass and how you skinny now. That's what you do a story on. You leave Whitney out your mouth, ma'am.
So there were no white celebrities that were higher than kites around Oprah? No white celebrities that, I don't know, jumped on couches while she did her show, or nobody fell over or was too high or drunk to go on the show. It was nobody else. It's just Whitney. That's who you wanna talk about? Whitney Houston. Somebody that is no longer here. Could it be that you are trying to maintain your extreme wealth by discarding a black woman? The calculation is all this time.
Oprah, real quick, before you get in the one to tell us about Whitney, can you tell us what happened to them girls first? Where they at? Where'd they go? What happened? Can we start there? Thanks.
I'm sorry, I'm on Oprah Winfrey's side this time. And who have not seen a Whitney Houston documentary or anything about Whitney Houston passing? If you my age, you have seen Whitney Houston in certain situations, especially at the Michael Jackson tribute. You remember when she came out size 0? Yeah. So, well, first of all, let me start this way, because some of y'all may not know that there's a conversation going on that Oprah told that Whitney showed up at her show and Whitney fell off the stage, and she asked her audience, please do not post the pictures, and obviously the audience did not post a picture. And so she's bringing it up now, and people is like, why are you bringing it up now? And, you know, bring back memories, or people is going to be visioning or seeing Whitney in that position or situation. Either way, let me just say this. When I say I'm a Whitney fan, she's like top of my playlist, okay? But at the end of the day, did Oprah say anything that we don't know? Did Oprah really put anything out there that we don't know about Whitney? At the end of the day, we could love Whitney with all our heart, but we know Whitney had a history. And if we saw the one with Bobby Brown, the documentary, or should I say the movie with Bobby Brown and Whitney, when Bobby was on the ground, you know, going through his thing, and Whitney acted the way she acted, trust me, that is not the worst story that could go out about Whitney. But of course, we love our princess. We love Whitney Houston. So we do our best to protect her legacy. I get that. But let's not act like Oprah just released something that no one knew.
Is there anything you want to clear up? You want the world to know?
That literally, you know, now she literally is an angel, but
he actually spit on me. And my daughter was coming down the stairs and she saw it. And that was pretty intense. Because I didn't grow up with that. And I didn't understand why that occurred. But he has such a hate in his eyes for me. Because I love him so much to do this. I told him not to do this. It was just one of those moments. It was just hateful, ugly.
Oprah Winfrey, if you don't have no stories that sound similar to the one that Wyclef told Jennifer Hudson, shut the fuck up. Let's chat. As a Jersey girl, Essex County to be specific, whose family is from North New Jersey, the motherfuckers grew up with Nip, I want to tell you to shut up. My family will beat you up. Not really, allegedly, because you got a lot of money. Ain't nobody finna put no pause on you. Why come for, though? Black woman to black woman. Keeping it real. Why would you go all the way to France to tell them folks that back in the day, the Whitney Houston interview, where she got up on that stage and performed, crumbled, did not stumble. We could tell that she wasn't sober, but why? 50 million later, the day after Clive Davis passed away, why would you go to France and tell us that she was hired in giraffe's ass and fell off the stage, and then you, being the saint that you are, pleaded with the Oprah Winfrey audience not to share that camera footage because you knew it would destroy her life, only to come out posthumously and tell us that girl is gone, Clive is gone, the people around is gone. Can't nobody confirm or deny your story. So now what? So now what? Because you put it out, them people who got them photos, they can put it out. Let me tell you, people with the photos, don't do it. We don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. We stand Nip around here. If you don't have no amazing, uplifting, beautiful story to share with us about the one, the only Whitney fucking Houston, shut up. You should have balled your own lips up. Oprah, You pissing me off. You been pissing me off, but now you pissing me the fuck off.
See, and this is why I can't get behind Oprah Winfrey. This is why I have a problem with Oprah Winfrey. And I hate to say that about a fellow Aquarian because normally I get along and I like other Aquarians, but she's one of the exceptions to the rule. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really get behind her. She'd be too fast and too ready to be trying to exploit our own. And I'm not saying that there's some black people that shouldn't be entertainers or celebrities or whatever that shouldn't be, but she's so quick to jump on that. She's so quick to jump on it, and I get it. She's black, and she's black entertainment, but she picks and chooses with that, too. Her and Gail, right? Like, I get it. R. Kelly was out here. He was wild, and he was doing shit that he wasn't supposed to with young girls. Okay, let's talk about that, right? But then it's like, all right, so make sure that you even it up. Make sure you're talking about Weinstein, because when you did your show and you started getting popular, you was all too ready and willing to make sure that you had a whole bunch of white guests in your audience was white or whatever, and you gave the aesthetic of white pleasing and everything else. But when it's time to destroy the black community or celebrities and entertainers in the black community, you be so quick to try to jump on any bandwagon or any story you can, right? You did it with the Michael Jackson, the sensationalism behind that, right? But so, like I said, where's your Epstein? Where's your Weinstein stories? Where's who else was on drugs? What's my man? The Iron. The Robert Downey Jr. Make stories about that. You mean to tell me you told your audience to hide the footage of what was going on with Whitney Houston also that you could just tell what happened with Whitney Houston falling? We didn't need to know that. You don't think that we know? We know ad nauseum that Whitney Houston had a drug problem. We knew that she would relapse just like any person who is an addict does. We know that. We would like to remember her for her voice, the voice, right? And her death. At least in her death, let her rest in peace. Let her and her daughter. She passed away. The daughter passed away. And here you go. You had to give the interview where you're like, oh, I'm begging everybody to put their cameras away because it was Whitney Houston. So just so that you could tell the story 20 years later, then you should have just let the footage come out while she was out there, because we would have known already. We would have been all right because we knew that she had a drug addiction. You want to wait until she passes away when she has, whatever family members are remaining, rest in peace, Sissy Houston. As a remaining, got to be, this got to be drudged back up in the media. That's why I don't like her. She's an opportunist. Like, Oprah Winfrey is an opportunist, and she's been an opportunist for a very, very long time, and we don't say it enough about her. We didn't ask you that. We didn't want that. That's the information we didn't want. Just share good memories. She's passed away. She can't come out and she can't say nothing. She can't say anything. So why would you do something like that? Why do we do that? Why don't we just let the those who passed away just be passed away? Why are we disrespecting legends? Even when they're alive, why are we disrespecting legends? It's the same problem I have with Jaguar Wright. You don't have any, it's not up to you to tell a story about what happened to Patti LaBelle when she was coming up and she slept with this person and slept with that person and Patti LaBelle got ran through. Don't you have any respect for any of our legends? Does anybody have any respect anymore for any of our legends? I get it. If you want to exploit Bill Cosby, you want to exploit, even though you pick and choose who you want to exploit, Oprah and Gail, right? But whatever, right? Because, whatever they was doing in the community, et cetera, like I said, especially R. Kelly. But But Whitney Houston, why does she even come up in that conversation? Like, did somebody threaten and say that, okay, I do have the footage and I'm going to show it? So let them show. Why did you have to be the one to explain that story? This lady has to be stopped. She has not really been all down with the community like that in a long time, right? Coming from the slums of Chicago, don't even get me started in how I feel about her being in Chicago and her lack of, you was busy building schools over there in Africa, but there's something ain't right with her. This gonna be a surviving Oprah story in a minute too. That was nasty work. That was dirty work. Nobody asked you. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to know that Whitney Houston passed out on the stage due to her relapse in her addiction. Nobody wanted that information. I certainly did not. How disrespectful. That lady has passed away. She is gone. I would rather celebrate her life, her voice, her beautiful voice. What she gave, that was a gift from God that she gifted us with, her talent. And I would rather remember her by that. We know about the drugs. We know about the Bobby. And we know about you better Layla. We know all of that. We know all the stories. We've seen all the tabloid pictures. We've seen the drugs on the counter in the kitchen. We've seen all of that. We are very much aware, just like we are very much aware of the people who are addicts in our own family, that they can relapse at any minute in time and stuff like that happen without you having to remind the public and reminding outsiders exactly how it happened and what happened.
Shame, shame, shame.
Oprah, we might have to put that belt that ass right down now. You had to go back to the color purple on your ass. Now I see why Hoppo was beating on your ass. You talk too damn much and you lie.
Listen, I'm really bothered by Oprah tonight. I can't get it out of my head. And I saw this first thing this morning and I still can't get it out of my head. Because Oprah knows better. She knows what Whitney went through. And even if she's not here anymore, why did she need to say this? She could have paid someone to release this after her death to make her look good. Why did she need to say this? Why did she need to say that Whitney fell off the stage and that she told everybody not to release the pictures? Bullshit. I don't even believe any of it, number one, because here's the thing. Whitney may have been a hot mess, but one thing we never saw was Whitney being a hot mess on stage. I don't remember that. I have no memory of that. So if it happened, like, maybe you can fill me in, but maybe don't fill me in because I don't want to know. Because I don't have memories of that. I have memories of Whitney being a hot mess in, like, ways, tabloid ways, but not in professional ways. So if it happened, it wasn't in a way that was defining her as a performer. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who weren't there during that time, Whitney Houston was by far one of the most amazing talents of generations, not a generation, generations. And we were so privileged to be there to hear her, to witness it. I'm one of these people who got to witness her in real time, seeing her just on TV in real time, in videos, whatever. Like, you felt the specialness of it. I don't like Oprah saying that about her. I don't like it because it doesn't really stand true to me. I know she went through hard times. I'm not saying she didn't. I know she did. She was trying to be honest about it. She was struggling. She went through her issues with substance abuse. But the thing is, she also tried as hard as she could as a performer to continue to be there. Even when she was skinny as a rail, struggling, whatever, she tried to continue to be there. And her voice was still just as beautiful. We never saw any moments where we were like cringing. I don't remember that anyway. If someone remembers that, correct me. But I don't remember that. So for Oprah to bring this up kind of stands out to me in a way that's not helpful to Whitney's legacy. It only stands to like look good for Oprah. Oprah could have said, you know, there was a performer and not name names. She could have said, you know, the audience all agreed to not put these pictures out to the tabloids, and they could have shown like how audiences helped to protect performers. Like, she could have done a lot of things, but she didn't. What she did was all about Oprah, and it was nothing about Whitney. And I think Whitney has been through enough. Even though she's not here anymore, I think she's been through enough, and her legacy's been through enough. And maybe I feel like this because I feel very much the same way about Britney Spears. I think they both have been through enough. Oprah, I think you owe Whitney an apology for this. I think you need to clean this up, because I don't think that this is representative of Whitney Houston as a performer. I don't remember anything like this ever happening. It's not like we were seeing Whitney slobbering around on stages. She did struggle. She did. But she was so beautiful, and her voice was so amazing, and it remained amazing till the end. I'm sorry for being emotional about it, but it just bothers me. I don't like it when people one-up themselves at the expense of someone else. I hope Oprah sees this, my video,
and learns a lesson. Not that she ever will. Just saying. I love you, Whitney. I love you. I really do. You are amazing. You are always amazing. And those of you who know, you know why I'm as upset as I am.
Why is Oprah randomly talking about Whitney Houston after Clive Davis passed away? I do think something is actually weird with that. I'm just going to be honest. It reminds me of the conspiracy theory about Disney Frozen and how they basically made the movie Frozen for Disney because people were having a conspiracy about Walt Disney being frozen underneath Disneyland in a cryogenic type of sleep. Like, that's what it kind of feels like. I'm just going to be honest, because why, after Clive Davis passes away, and a lot of people are now talking about Whitney Houston being tied to Clive Davis specifically, then Oprah's going to come out and basically say that Whitney was on drugs at her show and they had to cut that out, and Whitney was telling people not to tell anyone. It's like, why is that being brought into the news? And then obviously the security guard for Whitney Houston is like debunking the story, but it's almost as if the story is only here to make noise in order to take away from the connection between Clive Davis and Whitney Houston, just based off of timing specifically. Like, something is weird with that, because like, I feel like genuinely Whitney Houston was randomly brought up on Oprah's behalf. Like, that just seems like something that was out of nowhere, because quite literally the reason why people are even talking about Whitney Houston right now is because Clive Davis passed away. So for any other story to come out and try to distract from that and try to basically make Whitney look like an addict and that she needed help and basically steer the story away from that, and then it also causes conflict because the security guard has a different line of events. And so it's being basically debunked, but at the same time, the fact that it was even brought up in the first place makes me think that this is literally a situation where they're trying to have people talk less about Clive Davis and his ties to Whitney Houston and talk more about Whitney Houston in a different way. So that way, that story becomes the top story. So now the main story people are talking about with Whitney Houston now would be how Oprah is talking negatively, in a way, about Whitney Houston, and it's being debunked by Whitney Houston's previous security guard. It just seems like this is intentional. That's just how I feel about it, honestly.
Before I go, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of my subscribers. We are just a few subscribers away from hitting 1,000, and I couldn't have done it without your support, your comments, your likes, your shares, and the time you spend watching my content. Whether you've been here from the beginning or you just recently subscribed, please know that I truly appreciate you.